He says, man, what is God asking or demanding of you? Ki im asot mishpat. Number one, He's asking you to do mishpat, sentence. We call it justice. Ve'ahabta hesed. And two, to love kindness. And three, ve'hasneya lechet im elokecha. Which we're going to translate, to walk modestly with your God. By the way, it's hasneya. So many people just say hasne lechet that I don't even understand them. I think they're talking about the seneh, the burning bush. It's hasneya. Okay? In all cases, modesty is what creates lasting success, true holiness, true greatness, lasting greatness. Now, the definition of modesty is that we don't show off. Very simply. We don't show off greatness and we don't show off our personal aspects to the world. By the way, this word, as I said, the three things that Micha told us we have to do, and the third word was hasneya lechet. Hasneya is the root of the word sanua, which means modest, or the word that I think you all love, which is seni'uth. It's all the same word. It's all the same word. The root is that of modesty. So we mustn't show any of our things to the world where it's not necessary. I can even tell you, something came to mind when I was thinking about this that happened to me when I was first married. I don't know, maybe a year into the marriage or something. We had taken a lot of our items that needed to go to the mikveh. It may have been like wedding present stuff, I don't know. We took them to the mikveh and we came back. Now at the time we lived in an apartment. The apartment was on the ground floor. Well, the apartment was on the ground floor where the apartment was. Our apartment was, but you had to walk almost the whole block to get to the entrance down a hill. You then had to go in, and then you had to take an elevator or stairs up a flight in order to get to the floor that our apartment was on. But when you got into our apartment, we were on the ground floor. So I said, why on earth do we want to carry all these things all the way down, go in, up, down, in the car, a ton of stuff. Let's just open the window of the living room and take everything in. I was with my wife. My mother was there. She says, don't do that. I said, why? She says, because you're doing this publicly. People should not be seeing this. It was too late. We're already open, already doing it. We went in, and some of the most expensive things broke. And she says, you have to understand, that's what happens. Most likely, if you'd have gone the other way, it would not have happened. Okay, it was a lesson that I got, and I understood it wasn't smart. In any case, when the 10 Commandments were given at Har Sinai, Koloth, Ubrachim, and the whole mountain of flame, the shofar, and oh my goodness, so many people, it was given with much splendor. What happened? The luhot, the tablets, ended up getting broken. It was different with the second tablets. Where ish lo ya'ale imach, and no man may ascend with you. V'cham ish al yera bechol ahar, and no man may be seen on the whole mountain. Not only man, gam hason v'bakar, not even the flock or the sheep or the herd, al yer'u el mul harahu, may graze in front of this mountain. The second tablets of stone were given quietly, modestly, in a hidden fashion. By the way, the word sanua implies hidden. So we've seen seni'uth, as people like to call it, modesty, applies to everyone in all walks of life, everybody. Some apply more to one person, some more to another, some more to men, some more to women, but everybody is affected by all aspects of modesty. I know that women feel when you say the word seni'uth, they feel immediately what it is how long my skirt is, and it's being rammed down my throat. But that's not the definition of modesty. That's not the definition. That is one aspect of it. Don't get me wrong. Of course it's one aspect of it. But modesty is all-encompassing. And we have to understand it involves each and every one of us, and every Jew has to be modest. And by the way, this concept of ramming how many inches here and there down people's throat, I think is a big mistake. And I'll tell you why. Because modesty, as I've been saying, is much, much more than that. And secondly, I don't think that's the way to approach it. Even though, as I say, it is an important thing, I don't think that's the way to approach it. Now, the truth is that while, as I just said, it does apply equally to men and women, dress does apply more to women than it does to men. It does apply to men, don't get me wrong. But it does apply to women more than men. Why? It's very, very simple. Because the world is made in a certain way that people do have a tendency to look at the physical attributes of a woman more than they do a man. It's as simple as that. We can't get away from it. Therefore, the concept of modesty in dress for women has to be more pronounced than it is for men. It has to be there for men, but it has to be more pronounced for women. Also, it's not just the way she dresses. It's the way she behaves, how she speaks, everything, how she laughs, all these things. Because we have to understand the way a woman is, the way she dresses, the way she behaves, can also very easily cause a man to stumble. Now, when I say that, and I've said it before, there are those who will say immediately that's their fault. You know what? Okay, you're right. You're right. It's their fault. They should be above it. But nobody is. There is no man who is above it. That's what you have to understand. They should be, but they're not. Even if a person makes a point of not looking, and there are people who make a point of not looking, you still have to see where you're going. You're going to turn a corner, and you're going to suddenly see something or someone. And I've said in the past, that sight that you see can make an indelible impression on the person's brain, and the person can be actually tormented by it for years to come. I'm not exaggerating. You'll have to understand, I'm speaking the fact, ladies. For years to come, it can haunt him. So people then say, yeah, but Rabbi, what about Moshe Rabbeinu? Okay, Moshe Rabbeinu. But how many Moshe Rabbeinus are there? Only one, and will only ever be one. And that's why Moshe Rabbeinu was chosen by God. And that's why Moshe Rabbeinu was, God appeared to him at the Seneh now, I mean, the burning bush, not Sanua, not, okay? Don't get confused with those two words. At the burning bush. So we can't use Moshe Rabbeinu as an example. So people say, okay, Rabbi, fine, not Moshe Rabbeinu. So I'm going to, how about Rabbi Akiva? Got you there, right? How about Rabbi Akiva? Okay, you're right. Rabbi Akiva, you got me, because there are stories about Rabbi Akiva where other men would have been amazingly tempted, but he went the other way. He was disgusted by what happened. But hold on a minute. Let's just look at a Gemara about Rabbi Akiva, since you brought him up. It says in the Gemara of Kedushin that Rabbi Akiva, alav shalom, would cry whenever he read that if somebody intended to eat hazir, intended to eat pork, and ate meat that he thought was pork, but was actually kosher meat, that person needs to make kapara, needs atonement. And how much so if he actually did eat the hazir? Again, the person didn't eat something wrong. He didn't actually eat something that was forbidden. What he ate was 100% okay. It had like 25 different hechshers on to, make everybody happy. But still, he requires atonement. And Rabbi Akiva cried every time he read that. Why? We have to turn back one page in the Gemara. It says, Rabbi Akiva haya mithloses be'ovrei avera. Rabbi Akiva used to laugh at, used to scoff at those who transgressed. We're told that one day the Satan appeared to Rabbi Akiva. But he didn't appear as the Satan, he appeared as a woman. up on a tree, and we can imagine probably a very delectable woman, calling out to him, tempting him. And what happened? We're told that he grabbed the tree and started climbing up it towards the woman, till the Yetzer Hara left him. He was released from it halfway up, and he went down. And the Satan said to him, if they hadn't told me in heaven, warned me to take care of Rabbi Ya'aqob and his Torah, he says, I wouldn't have valued your life at anything. Apparently that's why he used to cry whenever he read that. Now I want to tell you, if the Gemara tells us that this could happen to Rabbi Ya'aqob, alav shalom, you can be absolutely sure as you go about your everyday matters that it can happen to every single male in this world. No exceptions. A man has to avoid being in a situation. That's the key. Being in any situation, however remote the possibility that he could stumble. That's the man's job. Because he knows he can fail, so therefore he has to make sure he's not in a situation where there would be a situation like that. But the woman must ensure that she is not the stumbling block. You know, I want to tell you something. I want to read you something. This is, I'm talking about Jews, but you have to know it's not just the Jewish world. I found a survey. I want to share this with you. I found a survey. It's a Christian survey that they did. I found it amazing. I got to read this to you. Do I have your permission? Yes. Thank you. It was by a group. Apparently they had hundreds of girls contributing to the 148 question survey. I'm going to read you 148 questions and the answers. Is that okay? I'll keep it down to 3 or 4, okay? So 100 and something questions. And we had hundreds of girls contributing to them. And they had 1,600 males respond to the questions. Now, I find them fascinating. And by the way, the males were of all different ages. Let's do the first one. Number 1, modesty is important for all girls, regardless of height, weight, build, etc. Again, modesty is important for everybody. Every girl, doesn't matter whether she is tall, short, good looking, not good looking, doesn't matter. All girls require to be modest. What's your opinion? Then they have people who strongly disagree, neutral, agree, and strongly agree. I'm just going to keep it simple because I can't remember all that. I'm just going to have the agrees and the disagrees. How many people disagree that it's important? 0.8%. How many people say that modesty is important for all girls? 97.4%. That leaves 1.9%, I guess. There's always some undecideds, you know that. Okay. But I want to read you some of the comments. I want to read you what this male said. He says, yes, definitely. An ugly girl or a short girl or a model can all dress immodestly, and regardless, they are a stumbling block to us. Do you know how old this male was? 12. At the age of 12, he already understood what problems this was causing. Could you imagine what happens when he gets older? I'll read you what a 35 to 39-year-old said. He says, modesty is a whole package. Body language, clothing, attitude, poise. Any girl can be modest or immodest. Okay. Next one. Guys notice whether a girl dresses modestly or not. 1.3% said no. 96.3% said absolutely. And again, a couple of percent didn't know what was going on. A 16-year-old said, I'm looking for a wife. Modesty is a big thing in my search. It shows me that if a girl dresses modestly, listen to this, they're not Jewish. If a girl dresses modestly, it shows me that she's leaving it to God to choose her husband for her. So therefore, there is no need to advertise. If a girl dresses immodestly, however, then she shows me that she's not given everything to God and is trying to attract guys to her in order to find a husband. Amazing. And the last one I'm going to read to you from this 198 question survey. Modesty is an important quality for your future wife to have. 1.4% disagreed. I don't get that. That 1.4% want men gawking at their wives? I just don't get it. I really don't get it. 1.4% disagree that modesty is an important quality for your wife to have. They want her to be immodest. They want men on the street to be looking at her. However, 95.4% agreed. One person who was 21 said, definitely. I think it's an outward expression of inward beauty. I don't expect her to dress like grandma, but I expect her to dress in a way that respects who she is. Dynamite. Just like grandma. This last point is very, very important. It's more important than you think. Please tell me where in the Torah it says, thank you so much. Thank you very much. I wish they would take care of me like that at home. Anyway, that's another story. Tell me where in the Torah it says that you have to dress in a way that's ugly. Approximately. You don't have to give me the exact verse. Where in the Torah does it say that you have to dress in a way that's ugly?
It doesn't.
It doesn't. You're absolutely right. I would say it's the opposite. If you're going to walk with somebody who's important, you better dress nicely. You're not going to dress in a messy way, let alone an immodest way. If you're with somebody who's very, very important, you're going to dress up. You're going to look good. The Torah wants you to look good. What the Torah doesn't want is you to draw too much attention to yourself. But if you're walking with God, then you're going to think about how you dress. And if you're a woman, a man also should think about the way he dresses. I tell you, I see some synagogues, you walk in the summer, guys are walking in with shorts and t-shirts, they got the talit katan on underneath. Okay, that's good. But how can you walk in there and pray like this? You can't. People are doing it. But it's not right. But for a woman, she has to think about it also. For her, it's much more. Now, here's the problem. How do you dress modestly? Because I'm not going into all the details, but my question is as follows. You'll ask one rabbi, he'll tell you this. You'll ask another, he'll tell you that. You ask one rabbanit this, another rebbitzin will tell you that. So it gets a little bit complicated. But there are some basic guidelines. I'm not going into them today. But you have to know that you have to follow the basic guidelines, and I'm going to say more about that in a minute. You have to think about the dress you wear. You have to think about the top you wear. You have to think about the skirt. You have to think how you cover your hair. Everybody knows, I'm not telling you anything, that I am a great believer that a girl needs to, that even the worst wig today is nothing like the wigs of yore when they were really terrible. Even the worst wig today, when you wear a wig and it's done beautifully, even if it's small and modest, it still attracts attention. On the other side, the best wig, which is really the worst wig, is the one which is absolutely unacceptable what it does to people, to men's minds. Unacceptable. When we talk about what we mustn't be, that's what those wigs do. But the majority of the wigs are somewhere in between. I have to be honest. In my lifetime, I've seen 2 wigs worn by old women that really, if they wore mops, they would look better. But I want to tell you, it's not that the wigs were bad. They were very short, but they were completely disheveled. Their hair was sticking out this way and that way. They just stuck it on their heads. You want to wear that? I got no problem. But that's my opinion, okay? To me, Rahel Imenu would not look like Rahel Imenu if she wore a wig. She looked like Rahel Imenu because she didn't. Okay, excuse me. That's my opinion. But you say to me, Rabbi, you're saying this, and another rabbi agrees with you, and those 2 other rabbis disagree with you. And then this rabbanit says about the shoes this, and the socks that. And one says you have to wear the socks, and the other one says they have to be bulletproof, the other one says they have to be this, the other one says that. And what do I do, Rabbi? Tell me what I do. I'm going to answer you. You're all intelligent. Today we don't have this concept for the most part that you have one rabbi, and he is your rabbi for everything. For the most part. If you do, it's a simple decision. If you don't, you're intelligent. Go with your gut feeling. Go with what you know is right. And if you hear someone saying, okay, here's a heter, you can do this, you have a leniency here, say to yourself, do I need that leniency? Is that leniencies are for when they're necessary. They're not for any time. Say to yourself, it's easier. But is it, in my mind, really the right thing to do? And that is how you make your decision. I'm not making any decisions for you. That's not my job. I tell people I'm not a policeman. I try to teach people and inform people and let them make, what was that thing, that company Sims that went out of business? What was it? An educated consumer is our best customer. Okay, be an educated Jew, an educated consumer Jew, and decide for yourself, this is the right thing to do. This is, okay, a heter, and some people like it, but really, it doesn't make sense. It makes sense to me if I wear this kind of dress or that kind of haircut, or this kind of shoe or these kind of tights or whatever it is, that makes much more sense to me. And that is, in my humble opinion, how you should run your life. All right. After all this, we have to remember, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Holy One, blessed be He, is walking in our camps. Okay, as I said, that's a really big deal, and Rashi tells us you have to keep away from licentiousness because of that to be holy. So, since that keeps God away, we have to be very careful that we want God with us. We want God walking with us. The problem is when God is not with us, that's when everything starts going wrong. So it's very, very important for us to do things to allow God to walk with us. Now, it says in Parashat Behokotai, and this is very troubling. We have to be very careful with this. When we say, I'm with God, but I can't all the time. Sometimes it's a little too much to walk in His ways. I want to only walk in His ways a little bit. I understand He's in our camp, and when He's in our camp, we have to be holy, but, it's a little bit hard. We're living in a society today where the world is so different. Look how much better we are than the rest of the world. Just look at how much better we are. Look at how much more we're doing than the rest of the world. Surely that's enough. It says in Behokotai, and if you will not be scolded by me, about these things, and you walk casually with me, that means you're not always with me. You are with me when it suits you. You are with me part of the time. You are with me when it's easier to do, but when it's difficult to do, you're not walking with me. You pick and choose when you're walking with me. Remember, we said it's a two-way street with God. What does God say? Next pasuk, then I will also walk with you casually. I will walk with you when I feel like it. That means HaKadosh Baruch Hu will not be there all the time with us. That means there'll be times we'll be crying out to God, God, where are you? He says, I don't know. Why are you calling me now? I'm busy. I'll take care of your matters later. Where were you when I was looking for you? It's got to shake us up. It's got to make us realize we can't pick and choose when we're with God. We have to walk with God all the time because we want God to walk with us all the time. We want God to be in our camps. We want God to be with the Jewish people all the time. God says, if I'm with you all the time, then you got to worry about nothing. But we got a lot to worry about. Clearly, we're not walking in the way of God all the time. We know it's true. We see it around us, but even with ourselves, we know that there are times it's easier, times it's difficult. We have to do it all the time. 7 times it commands us to walk with God. God tells us He's among us, so we have to be holy. God is repeating this over and over. We have to listen. God is speaking. We have to listen. He's repeating Himself because it's important. Rashi tells us holiness is the absence of licentiousness. We have to do whatever we can. The opposite of licentiousness is modesty. Modesty must apply in all areas. Business dealings, how we behave, how we speak, how we dress. We shouldn't look for heterim just because there is one there, like I was saying. A heter is for when it's necessary. That's when we use heterim, when there is a need for it. It's not just because it's there, let me take the easy road. We want God to walk with us at all times. We have to walk with Him at all times.